In PEKITI TIRSIA, martial art courses are no different for women or for men. Everybody practices the same way. Today, it seems that sticks, either long or short, have replaced the sword, the knife and spear of the time.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Jeff, je pratique LSI depuis 2003, alors c'est déjà 10 années. Bienvenue aux Philippines. The style is called LSI. Actually, the real name it's the long name, it's Tercia Serrada Cadenilla e Espada Idaga. So, just to shorten it up, our group we call it the Sunday School, so because we practice every Sundays. The people who train with us actually we started as a group of friends. The whole style was started by Master John Escudero. He's now based in Israel. We started out as just a group of friends trying to learn Filipino martial art. Okay. And at some point, friends brought some friends, brothers and sisters. So now we're actually spreading, like some friends or outsiders or even people who pass by, because we practice in the park. Some people who are just passing by or just watching decided to join, and so that's the kind of people who train with us. In LSI, we actually focus on speed, strength, and conditioning. So in conditioning, we actually do have exercises that will improve your conditioning, your stamina, and eventually improve the strength and the speed. Till what not?
Okay.
Yeah, just make sure you do your footwork properly. Practice with the whole arm. So here, grab. Once it's here, you can just follow through with this and just stop. Go crazy. Okay? Okay, so partner up. Our group is mainly really more on fun and everyone can join, so no discrimination whatsoever. Yeah, just make sure you do your footwork properly. Just say what you're just stepping backward and forward. So do it properly. Check this, then straight. When you grab, make sure you grab above the elbow. Because if you grab here, pull, see, easier for him to get out. Good. Half strike. And do.
The district of Intramuros is the only district who survived the bombing during the Second World War. It is a city within a city, where we still find traces of what was Spanish colonization. Intramuros is the oldest district of Manila. It is located along the southern bank of the Pasig River and was built by the Spaniards in the 16th century. History tells us more precisely, at the end of the 16th century, Manila was a village surrounded by a wall whose sovereign raised tariffs on all goods passing through the Pasig. The Spanish conquistadors, led by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, the first Spanish governor-general of the Philippines, entered the mouth of the river in 1571. They destroyed the village and founded instead the walled city of Intramuros. Intramuros comes from the Latin word intra muros, meaning literally in the walls. During the Spanish colonial period, Intramuros in Manila designated itself, referring to the fact that it was a fortified city. Intramuros home places are called baluartes. Baluarte is a Spanish word for bastion. These places are Spanish fortresses of Hispanic areas. They are notable bastions in Intramuros as the Baluarte of San Diego, San Gabriel, Santa Barbara, and San Andres. In addition, Intramuros also restores the old puerta. This door was the main entrance to the walled city. Besides these remains, there are many golf courses. Few countries in Asia can match the size and quality of golf in Filipino Metro Manila, and its scores of courses boasts being the capital of Asian golf. It is not by chance that some Japanese learn the basics of this sport on training grounds in Tokyo and then come to practice in Manila. The PEKITI TIRSIA was taught only to members of the Tortal family to defend their land. He began learning in the United States in 1972 by Grandmaster Leo Gaja Tortal Jr., the grandson of Conrado Tortal, the heir of the system. Since then, the PEKITI TIRSIA has expanded its study groups throughout the entire world.
Madali na lang yan eh.
In these courses, everyone works at their own level and often in pairs. Sometimes the pairs can be mixed depending on the level and the number of women present. The same movements are repeated several times.
Use your body mechanics. Primary target. So angle 1. Up. Walk.
My name is Tuhon Romel Tortal. I am the second in command of PEKITI TIRSIA system. PEKITI TIRSIA is a close quarter and combat fighting system based in the Philippines. PEKITI TIRSIA is more than 100 years. You know, it's developed by my great-great-grandfather, and And now PEKITI TIRSIA is not only in the Philippines, but most of the major program of the military worldwide. So the difference between PEKITI TIRSIA and compared to the other martial arts like karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, and of course right now very common is MMA, mixed martial arts, okay?
Continue.
They are all passive art. Passive meaning focus on submission art or sports art. Here is we are edge weapon oriented. Edge weapon oriented, we start from the weapon. So meaning, if you start with the weapon, your discipline is completely different compared to non-weapon oriented art, which is hand-to-hand before they come up with the edge weapon. Compare the system of PEKITI TIRSIA, we start from the weapon and end up to empty hands. Meaning to say, as far as empty hands is concerned, your orientation, your hand is automatically it's become a weapon in the absence of weapon. Because our philosophy, if you can get out to the weapon, you can get out to the empty hands. And in the weapon, you cannot afford to commit a mistake because if you hit even a single slash with the knife or any kind of edge weapon, you get bleed. So once you get bleed, you know, then the starts of making you trouble. That's why you cannot afford to commit to a mistake. That's why here, where we're trying to develop is perfection of the movement. We have what we call this offensive, counter-offensive tactics, no defense.
Right.
Because we believe is offense is the best defense.
Okay guys, everybody's in there. Actually, the name Karambe, it's based from the word very common in Central Philippines. Karambe, it's Indonesian. So your edge weapon is one, you can do uppercut. 1, 2. Flip, uppercut, switch to the right. 1, 2, flip, uppercut, switch to the left. 1, 2, uppercut, switch to the right. Angle 2. So now this time, this is your angle 1. I use my angle 1 to counter his angle 1. I cut. So cut the artery and cut the throat. Good idea? So you bridge your moves, cut, cut. Now my turn.
Here, as far as the PEKITI TIRSIA is concerned, we teach the group of people to survive on the street. Not focus on the sports, but the most important, since you're living in the urban area, you must understand how to survive. Because as far nowadays, there's no such thing as a safe place.
I pop that.
in 1 week, we can teach a student how to survive in the street.
I'm Jan. I train in the Filipino martial art of PEKITI TIRSIA Kali. It's known as a close-quarter blade fighting system in the Philippines. I'm Canadian-Filipino and I wanted to do something that was close to my roots, so I wanted a Filipino martial art, and Kali is well known all over the world as an excellent fighting system.
The Philippines have 30 volcanoes and landscapes that go southwest with the Taal volcano formed in the middle of the lake of the same name. A perfect cone that never tires from admiring. The Taal volcano is not far from the Pintarbo eruption in 1991, which transformed the region into a desert of ashes, in the end making a delight for hikers. The Philippines and their string of tropical islands represent the best of the nature, especially Palawan with its underground rivers, primeval forest, wildlife sanctuaries, and beautiful diving spots. The rugged land of the islands gives them a strength of character that reinforces a multitude of cultural influences we hardly find anywhere else. Filipinos are very religious people in this mainly Catholic country. Sunday services and Friday, which are followed. Remember, however, that the Roman Catholic religion was introduced in the Philippines by the Spanish. The Holy Week gives rise to great parades and actual crucifixions, though condemned by the Church. The Philippines are 93% Christian and Catholic, Muslim 5.1%, and 1.9% are Protestants, Buddhists, and other religions. Spanish was the first official language of the Philippines since its integration into the Spanish Empire in 1565, and the main language of the country until the early 20th century. The Manila Galleon, also known as the Manila Acapulco Galleon, or Acapulco Galleon was the name given to the Spanish ships that crossed once or twice a year the Pacific Ocean between Manila and the Spanish Philippines, to Acapulco, the main port of Pacific coast of New Spain. Asian goods landed in Acapulco, then were transported over to Veracruz, loaded in the galleons of the Indian fleet, which took them to Spain. The galleon also followed the reverse path, starting from Acapulco and heading to the Philippine Islands after a stopover in Guam. You'd think we're in an abandoned city, but it is absolutely not the case. We are in the Chinese cemetery in Manila, which was built in the mid-19th century by Lin and Tan Quyen Sien to give a traditional burial to the Chinese whose bodies could not be repatriated to their country. The cult of the dead is very important for Chinese communities, and if the rites are not properly performed, the deceased members may, according to Chinese cultures, cast evil spells on the rest of the family. This is why the Chinese cemetery in Manila is a real small town with fringed streets and sometimes lavish homes to accommodate the dead. Even in a real small town, there is a social rank. If you are quite a wealthy family, you will have a place on the surface with a vault size of a house, a kitchen, and toilets, while people less fortunate will be entitled to a place underground. The Chinese spend a lot of money to build these tombs, and each has an original idea for comfort to countries beyond. Lounge, balconies, crystal chandeliers, and even mailboxes. Sometimes survivors no longer have the means to accommodate and thus go to cohabitate with their dead in the cemetery. It is often the youngest children who are too young to earn a living. There is also a house called the White House with modern architecture flooring, which has of course all the comforts: fully marbled floors, television, air conditioning. Nothing is missing. The oldest grave in the cemetery is very unique because it is in the shape of a turtle and was built some 200 years ago. Dead children do not share the family graves. They have a reserved area in the cemetery and are buried in small tombs close to each other. Every Sunday, the Chinese go to the cemetery to pay tribute to their ancestors. Song, or butterfly knife, is inseparable from the Filipino martial arts. Its origins go back as far as the 8th century as one of the mythical weapons of Cali. His home village of Barrio Balasong is in the province of Batangas in the Philippines.
So this is Barangay Balisong. It's famous for their Filipino butterfly knives. They're folding knives. They're famous all over the world because of the art that we do with the fancy knife tricks. And it's known for being a concealed weapon because it looks like a fan when it's closed, and when you open it up, it's an actual like folding knife. Yes. Tapos pinatanggal yan. They're gonna make it dull so that when we train with them, it will be like this. It's not sharp. So even if we make a mistake, we won't get hurt. So these ones are still sharp. They're gonna make it dull for us. Yan ang sample ha. Napapatinig ka. I'll just come back. It's handmade here by the knife makers. The hilts used to be made out of deer horn, but now they make it out of bone or wood. And the steel is stainless steel, but they usually make out of recycled metal.
Balisong means broken horn. Bali means broken, and sung comes from the word sangay, which, meaning horn, is often the preferred Filipino knife because of its versatility as a utility knife and its effectiveness as a self-defense weapon. This adds to the pleasure of handling an elegant weapon with an inimitable sound when you open and close. Creating a balisong is very traditional and limited to a few villages within a 30-kilometer radius. It is located in small workshops in backyards that spreads the knowledge of blacksmiths Filipinos for generations. Each butterfly knife is unique. The Batangas balisong remain intact in terms of the style and aesthetics of Philippine origin through the use of traditional materials such as narrow wood, bone, and carabao horn. The final test is often performed to see the ability to break a balisong coin without damaging the thrusting tip. If this is the case, you have a good balisong. The term butterfly knife refers to its two mobile branches, which allow it to be opened and closed with one hand. This concept of opening and closing, as well as chain figures, which is also called tricks. The balisong knife continued its journey through the centuries to countries including France, Spain, Germany, and the United States to become what we know today, a knife by its original design and simple mechanism, offering dozens of options of handling.
So yeah, I've been having like stomach pains, and it's been a few days already, and nothing I do is working. So what can?
By the way, hilot is not massage at all.
Oh.
It is a healing process. So it is putting back harmony and balance to the person. And the manghihilot and the albularyo are saying that we are not healers of diseases, we are healers of men. From the pulse, from the pulse reading, already I could diagnose that there's something wrong with the digestive system. You see, the spinal column is the source of electricity in the body. And the electricity generated by the nervous system being distributed in the spinal column is supposed to be distributed all over the body through the hilot area. So if there's something wrong, let's say in the digestive system, a particular lump in this area connected to the digestive system would manifest like this one here.
Yeah.
So this is the science behind what we're doing. It is magical. Why? It is miraculous. Why? Because remember, 500 years ago, there was no science. There was no English.
Okay, pag-antay ka rin namin sa labas, ha? Okay, thank you. Huwag na bang gusto yan. Nandiyan na. Sir, about yung sa scan, yung sa scan.
Yes. Earlier was get the pulse. But what we're trying to do here now is scan temperature change and basically lumps at the back. So earlier I did the pulse reading And the pulse reading should basically validate. You have problems here from the thoracic area, the bronchial. You have the lungs here. You have the stomach, the small intestines, the large intestine. You have the kidney, and then you have the reproductive. So this is a very easy format of diagnosis. So once you diagnose, now you know where to correct. We're doing also the scanning for the legs and the thigh. And lumps also and temperature would validate the findings here. And conductivity of excess in the Philippines, they use bamboo sticks. They use sticks. Okay. So this is for the electricity component of the body. And after the electricity treatment, we begin to explain what should be done in terms of the cleansing program to clean now toxins in the digestive, in the kidney, and in the blood area. So this is where herbal medicine comes in.
So from the scanning, you can locate then, like what you told me.
Yeah, the scanning is to validate
Yeah.
the findings here in the
Yes,
pulse.
when you
So in short, we have three formats of diagnosis that validates imbalances.
Yeah,
in the
okay.
blood. This is Manji, Joyce, Josie, and Dory.
Besides being able to get treatment, you can also take the opportunity to discover healing products, completely natural as well.
Kaya lang, hindi sila nag-use. So mostly right now, for the with glycerin, lavender essence, no tea.
You're from where? Ako din, tigatag na katiga mo na po.
by that
Group na pala ni Kinakago, Kinadina. Okay, see you.
Nightlife does not stop in Filipino. Instead, it continues on and comes alive with stalls that you'll find along the road with delicious local dishes. It is not uncommon for Filipinos to enjoy the night for walks and also to practice sports like running, fitness, basketball, or training in martial arts. The Filipinos adapt themselves to practice and teaching martial arts, and this even at night in a park, which is not a problem for them.
Tama mo dito.
Okay, Yaoyan was taken from the last two syllables of the words sayaw and kamatayan, meaning dance of death. So there. And the history of Yaoyan comes from what is more popularly known around the world as arnis. So Yaoyan usually is mistaken for the Filipino Muay Thai. However, it is not really, because if you will examine closely the techniques, the punches for instance, instead of the punches like used in Western boxing, we use what is called bolo punches. So we use our from the fist to the elbow just like we would use a stick. And the reason why it's called sayaw ng kamatayan is because the movements are supposed to be fluid. It has to be flowing. Because Yaoyan, just like other FMA styles, okay, doesn't practice to you going strength against strength. Okay, Filipinos being small, of course, right? You have to use the strength of the opponent for you to get an upper hand. So that's essentially what Yaoyan is. I thought it best to, instead of focusing on tournament style fighting, is to really train for the street. And that's the reason why also we train in street clothes. Okay, so we want it to be more street style because I believe that you will always react the way you train. You see, so instead of training like in the ring, street application always. Basic level, a basic understanding about, well, it depends on how many times you train a week. Maybe if you like train thrice a week, let's say for instance, that's 3 times a week for about 2 hours, you'll get a good fundamental understanding of the principles after about 12 sessions or so. 12 to 24 sessions, you'll get a very good fundamental understanding already. Well, for me, yes, Filipino martial arts, I find it's been my passion, and it has it's very rich, maybe. So that's what I can say about it. And the beauty of it, like for instance, in my case, Yaoyan, or any FMA system for that matter, is that after you learn the fundamentals, you can always put in your personal stamp to it. See, that's the beauty of Filipino martial arts. Or you can always have your personal stamp on it, and it's still going to be the same, essentially.
Tapos di pasok nito. Okay, ulit. Pagkakuha ko, diba? Ang dahan-dahan pagkakuha dito. Boom! Ayun.
Filipinos love to remember that they are in the country where Asia wears a smile. The Philippines can explore exotic islands, enjoy beautiful beaches and coral gardens or active volcanoes. But here, one can also discover the national martial arts of PEKITI TIRSIA. Even if it has not been developed for competitions, it has imposed its art worldwide.